So hi, welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with
Doug from Bearings.
Aaron. Some questions to say about their upcoming album, The Best Part About Being Human. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
I'm pretty pumped. I mean, I can't wait for people to actually hear the whole thing. But it's pretty exciting. I found out today that one of the vinyl variants is now sold out. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm really excited. I think it's our best record we've done so far. I know every band says that, but I genuinely do. So I'm excited for it, and I'm excited people are excited for it.
There's some serious ass shakers on here.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, well, that's part of it is there's a song on the record called Human, and it's the last song on the record, and it'll make sense once the record's out and people hear that song. They'll be like, oh, this all makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's from that song. There's a line from that song that just says the best part about being human. It's how the song starts, and then it goes into it. But it's just kind of meant to highlight, I guess, a bit of the good and the bad, you know. Nothing too crazy. I don't want to say too much because it is so based around that song. But yeah, I think it's cool. And Kay killed the artwork again. So yeah, and it's a diner. I don't know if everyone realizes that, but it is a diner.
Mm-hmm. I love
Bearings diner.
I love how vivid the cover art is. Like something about the cover art for the last couple of records, it's just been so bright and so vibrant, and I love that. But especially on this record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this one was, I wanted it to be like sort of like a beachy type thing, and just for it to feel a bit nostalgic, but still feel bright and powerful. And I mean, Kay she just does her thing, killed it, crushed it. So
hell yeah.
I mean, that's all her.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process for this album?
Pretty similar to, I guess, previous records. Just a lot of it is stuff that I just voice memo with my acoustic guitar, and I just sing and then go in, demo it, try to get it to a point where we're at least going into the studio with a good idea of the direction and the overall sound. But there's a few songs, like there are a few songs on there that in the studio we kind of are like, maybe this idea is not working, and we just start from scratch on a voice memo and take it from beginning to end. But no, yeah, it was good. There's a couple on there. Gone So Gone, which is out now, is sort of a similar writing process to how Sway was written. It's just like an FL Studio demo that was kind of beachy and poppy, and we brought it into more of the band's space and what we're good at.
Nice. So the voice memos, is that where it starts and then the instrumentals are built around that? Are you doing the voice memos to instrumentals? Are they just like thoughts in your brain that you have to get out and you figure it out later? Like, where do the voice memos come in for the rest of the process?
Well, so it'll usually be like, yeah, it'll start that way for the most part. There are some times where, the song is getting built out, or there's, the instrumentation is pretty much all laid out, and I can just go in there and sort of build my melody around what's being done instrumentally. But yeah, a lot of the times it's a voice memo, and it might not be the whole song. It might just be like a first verse, chorus idea, and then the band kind of comes in. We try to build out the rest of the song, try to build out the actual direction of it, because a voice memo with an acoustic guitar could go 1,000 different directions. Same thing with what I'm saying about the FL Studio, like Gone So Gone being an FL Studio demo. Like, it sounded crazy. It sounded nothing like what it ended up sounding like for the record, because it was done in FL Studio. The drums are just like not real drums. Everything's just looped and sampled, and then we got to bring it to a point where it can be a Bearing song. But yeah, a lot of it does start off with a voice memo, and I just try to, throughout the day, if I have a good idea, just sing it in there, or write down a couple lyrics in the notes app, and then I'll kind of sit down and just, put it together a little bit after that.
Fair enough. All right.
Makes sense. All right. So what song off this album took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
The longest to write. In a way, it's kind of Scenery, in that there was variations of it, and some of them kind of stumped us. Ocean Dreams, similar thing. Like, it's not that it took long to write necessarily, but certain parts took a long time to agree on or get behind, because there is something. I mean, there's a really interesting bridge in that song, and there was a bunch of ideas being thrown around, and so that took a long time to settle on. In terms of the writing process, it's hard to say, because there's this other song, Live Forever Never Die, which started as two different songs that I'd both done as like FL Studio demos, and then at the end of the day ended up just becoming one song, because one had great verse and pre-chorus, but the chorus wasn't that strong, and then the other song had not such a strong verse but a great chorus, and so that everything kind of got put together.
Makes sense.
Sort of Frankensteined into a banger. But yeah, and then my favorite song, I'm not sure, probably Slip. There's a song called Slip that I really like, but I like them all.
Nice. All
Hell
right.
yeah.
So how'd the track list for the album come about? Did you guys write the opener of the opener, close a big closer, did you shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
Yeah, I mean, it was tougher than I think some previous records, where we were at times all over the place with the songwriting. Like, Hello It's You is a record that, I mean, So Damn Wrong is a very different song than Transient Colors, and Lovely Lovely is a very different song than Sway, and so that record, it felt like we stuck a lot of the more upbeat, positive stuff in the front half, and then some of the more maybe darker or more experimental stuff on the second half of that record. This record, though, is a little more like fine-tuned in terms of what we do well. I'd say it goes pretty hard from beginning to end. There's no acoustic song or anything like that. So it was kind of hard, because it was like, well, what songs do it? Also, I feel like in the past we would kind of front load records with the singles. On this record, there's two singles that are on the second half of the record.
Nice.
So I think it was just more about building it out so that it has its ebbs and flows, but also stays consistent in its energy.
All right.
But honestly, I feel like we could have mishmashed it around anyway. It would have been fine, but having Human at the end was really important. And I think having Scenery at the beginning was really important.
When picking the singles for the album, was there the intention of grabbing songs off the second half? Was the track list even made at that point? And then, like, you guys, it just kind of fell that way? Like, was there an intention, or did it just kind of happen that way?
Oh, there was no intention. It was really, it was weird, because we felt like any song on this record could be a single, which was the hardest part, because I feel like in the past, we know Lovely Lovely wasn't going to be a single. Like, we knew, Transient Colors would not be a single on Hello It's You. So it made the singles for that record a little easier at times. Granted, we did release Dreams as a single, I think, which maybe that wasn't a great decision. I don't know. But we, for this one, any song could have been a single. And I just feel like Scenery was the obvious one, where like, we want to get this out because we want to play it live. We just really wanted to play it live, and putting it out first meant we got to play it live on a couple tours. And then Gone So Gone, which we just released, was kind of the second one where we knew, we want to play this one live because it's fun, so let's just get it out. Though it doesn't really matter now. The whole thing will be out by the time we're on our next tour. But and then the next two singles really was just, I think, largely because people we'd show the record to, and friends and stuff, seemed to really like those couple of songs. And for us, we could kind of pick any of the songs, on the record as singles. So they just seemed like, all right, well, people seem to like those. We'll go with those.
Fair enough. And like having so many options because you felt like every song on the record could be a single, did that make it harder? Is that kind of why you left it in the hands of like the people that you showed the record to for those last couple of singles that are going to come out?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it depends because there's definitely other songs that people really liked for different reasons. I think Ocean Dream was, it's like, friends and people would show that to, would be like, wow, that song's crazy, it's so cool, but it's a little mellower, and we were like, well, we don't want any singles to be mellow at all. We kind of want it all to be pretty we want to kind of go in hard with this. So I don't know, it's so tough too, because I know singles are important, and it's usually those are going to be the songs that get music videos. Though we didn't do one for Gone So Gone, but the next two are going to have music videos. And it's just also, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because I do think we're a record band. I think we can release all the singles we want. At the end of the day, people are just going to pick, sort of appoint themselves their favorite song anyways. Like Eyes Closed was never a single, and it does just fine. So on one hand, I'm like, singles are important, but on the other hand, once it comes out, all those songs find a life of their own anyways.
Yes, singles are important in the music industry as a whole, but I feel like in the pop punk scene, it's like the people get so attached to the band and like their albums as a whole that it doesn't matter what songs you put out because they're going to attach themselves to the record, not just one song off the record.
Yeah, it's like probably one of the few genres where full-length records are still incredibly popular. It's like in every genre, a full-length record is exciting, but there's definitely certain genres where it's like a singles game. And you get artists constantly pushing out singles. Sometimes the singles have nothing to do with the record. And I feel like sometimes in this genre, you could write the best song of all time, but if you release it with it not being connected to an album, it's almost like people are like, oh, that's nice, but where's the album?
Yeah, it gets missed in your discography because it's not attached to one of the records.
Exactly. Yeah.
Totally. So would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
Well, the headspace was definitely, we just basically gotten home from tour, and we kind of knew, I will say this, so we were pretty prepared going into this record, at least it felt like it. We were also really stoked because Sam, who produced it, I've known Sam since I was in like high school. Because he's from around this area. And I was just, I don't know, we did it in an Airbnb in North Hollywood, and I was just pumped. I mean, we'd go out and like play cornhole and like hang out and have beers, and just, it was very easy. We went and saw Third Eye Blind at the beginning of the kind of working on the record, and I don't know, it was just it was chill. It was very chill. I never felt like it was like we were, pushing anything, or, there's a level of pressure there because I think sometimes picking the right words for songs or finishing songs can be a little stressful, especially near the end of the process where, there's a week left and you have 3 songs left to do and you really want them to be perfect. But also singing all day takes a lot out of you. So you're like, oh man, I'm really gonna have to grind this. But in general, I think the mindset was just, let's go in, let's write a great record. Let's write something that we can play live and it'll sound pretty much maybe not the exact same, but there's songs written for us. There's no songs that are, like So Damn Wrong. I love that song, but it's like, we kind of have to use tracks for it because it's either that or bring like a synthesizer on stage.
Yeah.
And I love those songs, but we were like, let's do a record where like we could play the whole thing just as a 5-piece band. Like we don't need any of the extra stuff to do any of these songs. We can just play a good rock record.
So did you find that kind of put you in a box and kind of limited you? Because you're not able to kind of like go all out and kind of just make music to make music. Or, I mean, obviously you wanted to do it, but. Yeah.
It was almost the opposite. I felt like we could kind of do anything because instead of like going, I don't know, I think sometimes it's very easy to go like, well, the vibe of this song is this, and that's just what it sounds like.
Mhm.
But I think it was kind of fun to take songs and make them songs that we can just, because it's not like we didn't add piano. I mean, we add stuff like that. It's just not at the forefront.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I found it really chill. I never found that it limited us in any way.
Okay.
I also found that as a result of the way we were kind of writing the record, it left room for some more complex stuff for Mike to do on drums. Left a little more room for us to experiment with things in the bridges, or, you know, it's about, like, I guess just being experimenting with stuff, but doing it tastefully, but also just knowing that we're going to do this record and it's going to rock and it's going to be fun to play live. Because I feel like live, that stuff can be limiting, right?
Yeah.
Like when you add all this stuff and then you go to play live and you're like, well, I mean, we had a show where our laptop stopped working and we don't even really use tracks.
Yeah.
It's like So Damn Wrong gets tracks, and, you know, there's a couple other songs that have a bit in there, but they're not necessary for what we do. But it's like, if the laptop stops working, all right, well, now we can't play So Damn Wrong. like
Yeah.
that's limiting, right? Whereas like if your guitar string breaks, you just put another string on it. You know, if your amp blows up, you just, you know, you just use
That's
the
fucking
backup amp.
badass.
Oh, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
Well, that too, I
Yeah.
guess.
So
Um,
yeah, there's always like, I find that for the live show, it's like less restrictive, because if we want to play to a click, we can play to a click. If we don't want to play to a click, we don't play to a click. If we want tracks, we use them. If we don't want them, we don't use them. We can
Yeah.
kind of do whatever we want.
That's a
So
very good point.
you've been talking a lot about playing live, and you know the next tour is a co-headliner, so you're going to have more time. Is the goal to play most of, if not all of the songs off the record on this tour?
Well, that's what I wanted, and everyone was like, no, we can't just only play the new record. So
You know
so
what?
we're gonna have to pick.
I mean,
So, you know,
I'm not saying you. I don't know who's telling you you can't do it, but I mean, fucking Grayscale put out Umbra and then just played that thing front to back, and the
Yeah.
fans ate
Everyone
that shit
fucking
up.
ate it
So
up. Mhm.
I don't see
Yeah.
why you guys can't do it.
Shit was
no,
good.
I mean, we're gonna play Sway, and we're gonna play Eyes Closed, and we're gonna play the songs that we still love playing and that people like. But it is tough because I really do love every song on this new record, and it's gonna be so much fun to play live. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to time our set too, because we've played tours where, you know, we talk a little bit more between songs and stuff. We've also done tours where we just fly through the set at like record speed.
Mhm.
So I guess just how we space it out and how we kind of approach certain things for this tour, we'll have to just see how many songs we can actually fit in there.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think we'll play a lot of new stuff, and then, you know, we'll play a couple of the classics too.
Oh yeah, and
yeah.
you mentioned Sam, your producer. The last name is slipping my mind, but is it the same guy that's been like doing the new Silverstein and the new Devils Wear Prada? Is it that Sam?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah, and he did the Between You and Me record.
what- nice.
He did Shaking Your Mind. Well, he did Shaking Your Mind. We did vocals and drums with him, but he did mix it.
Okay. Nice.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
mixed it, and but no, he's great.
Yeah.
Guy's a legend.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should do it in the car with friends and dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Woo. I'd say headphones on, but it feels like a car album. I think car album on a nice day.
All right.
You know, car album on a nice day. Maybe headphones, nice day walk vibes, possibly. Could
Mhm.
also fit fall vibes though.
Mm.
You know, maybe September. You know, September's like the perfect month for it because
Okay.
it's still hot, but we're kind of starting to lean into that fall weather.
Absolutely.
I mean, unless you live somewhere where there's just no weather, in which case
Yeah.
you can just listen to it whenever you want.
Damn.
Fair
All right.
enough.
Yeah.
So this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
big rock record.
Damn.
Nice.
Record time.
All
Fuck
right.
yeah.
So in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
Just vibe with it. There's a couple twists and turns, so just be prepared for those. But I think it's just gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun and gonna be a little sad once in a while, but tried to keep the good vibes up for this one.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So are you able to talk about any particularly challenging or standout moments from the creation of this album, positive or negative?
I think the standout positive would just be how comfortable we are just doing our thing. I mean, it is our third record at this point, and we're not trying to reinvent the wheel by any means, but it's just easy. It was very chill. And I think that was the positive. It was just a very pleasant experience.
Good.
I guess the toughest part would just be picking between songs or small decisions in a song, because those always take the most time. Like the things that people probably will never notice sometimes or not even care about, and we're all stuck on it for 2 hours. And then, Sam has to go, this doesn't matter, we're moving on, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or sometimes something a bit bigger, and it'll sound great no matter which direction we take it. And we know that, but at the same time, it's just hard to decide, what is sometimes too much of a good thing can be complicated, because you're kind of like, well, that would rock, but this would also rock. And it's not that one thing rocks harder than the other. It's just they both rock in different ways, and you just got to pick a lane.
Yeah. And although no one that is listening will probably notice, you guys notice, and that's what matters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, and there's so much in music that you would never notice, but it's what indicates a feeling. Like when people, I feel like you don't always know why a song makes you feel a certain way, but you can hear it when you're doing like the harmony, like when the bass does a harmony of the root note instead of the root note, or small things like that. It just provides a very different feeling to that section of the song or whatever it may be. And it's like no one really notices it, but they notice the feeling of it through the music.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sense. And when you guys are in the studio and you're kind of bickering for like 2 hours over that tiny little piece in a song, how do you guys kind of settle that? Is it like a flip a coin situation?
Sometimes we'll just record both and we'll just listen to it back. I mean, one of the big things was in Scenery that the bass part sounded like a Blink-182, the Blink-182, what is it? Mutt has that like little bass thing. We're like, oh, it sounds too much like Blink-182. And it's like, who cares? Blink-182 rocks.
Yeah.
And then, we're just kind of going back and forth. So we tried it both ways. And then we ended up keeping the blinkier way.
Fuck yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
All right.
Makes sense.
So for this question, we want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
That's tough. That is a tough one. Sometimes I'll get, if we haven't had time to eat dinner, I'll get, what are those things called? They're like snack packs.
The ones with like meat and cheese?
Yeah, they're like for kids. That
Lunchables.
Lunchables. Those. Lunchables slap. I'll go for a Lunchable every now and then.
Which like variant of it though? Like the pizza?
No, it's the turkey and cheese.
Oh, the classic. Thank God. Yeah, the pizza sucks.
The old school one, and then it's tough because all my favorite chocolate bars are like Canadian chocolate bars.
Canada, that's crazy. Canadian chocolate. No one ever fucking raves about Canadian chocolate.
Yeah, like Big Turks. I don't know. There's so many good ones. I can't even like think off the top. The Kit Kats taste better here for some reason. The Reese's are better here for some reason. I could be completely delusional and they're not different at all, but I feel like they are different.
That's
like,
all that
part
matters.
of me just feels like they are different. But yeah, I feel like there's so many. Like when I'm in Canada, I'm like, it's such a hard decision to pick a chocolate bar. Like, do you guys have Mr. Big? I feel like I
No?
never see it in the US.
No.
Like Mr. Bigs are so good. I don't know.
What is it?
It's just like it's like caramel, chocolate, and like peanuts.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good.
Not a Reese's. Sorry, like a Twix.
No, not really like Twix. It's you just gotta experience it.
It's crazy to me that the chocolate market is so different. We're not that fucking far from each other.
No.
We're still
we're
connected.
I know, yeah.
What's
It's
the big
so
deal?
weird. And then you guys have weird chocolate bars that just make no sense.
No,
I don't know, like paydays or something. Like who's eating a payday?
Still never tried one. Been here for fucking
Yeah.
19 years. Never had one.
Yeah, so I have it's just things like that. Same thing with like Doritos. We got sweet chili heat here, and then there's like a Dorito that's kind of the same. It's called like it's like a name that sounds almost the same as sweet chili heat, but it's not called that. And it doesn't taste quite the same. And I don't know, it's just weird.
We have sweet. I thought we had it. Isn't that the purple
the
bag?
purple
Shane?
bag. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
those are
purple.
the only
It's not-
vegan ones. Those are the ones I go for.
Yeah, those are good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But are they called sweet chili heat, or what's the exact name?
Oh, let's look it up. Purple Doritos.
Yeah, I need to know this because I feel like it's just slightly
Spicy
off, just
sweet
a little
chili.
bit. That's it. That's not the same thing because in Canada it's a black bag.
Oh.
And it's not the same. They're different
different
things.
color bag. That's getting you. Okay.
But even the flavor's different.
They just like introduced like a black bag here that's like a barbecue kind of thing.
That's been there.
All right, well,
that's like a classic, Shane. Oh my god.
Right. You're coming after me. I just
I'm
told
Mr.
you.
Doritos
I just
here.
admitted I'm vegan. Okay, let's calm down.
My bad.
But yeah, it's always a weird one in the States with the gas stations because I feel like it's just Lunchable, and then I'll get maybe like Cheetos or something sometimes. I don't know. I'm not a big chip or chocolate bar guy to start with, but
had me fooled.
Yeah, like I'll go for chips. Salt and vinegar is always good,
no
matter where you are. So,
all right,
that's true.
It's not different in Canada.
No, that's the same both places.
All right, that's good.
Okay, good. So on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
We would be probably just the Cane's chicken. That's
okay.
it.
That's it.
That's what we'd be
Just
with the Texas toast.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Not too complicated. Just keeping it real.
Just simple. Just but reliable.
Exactly.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
So for the last couple questions, we're going to shift completely away from music. So if you could be one animal for the rest of your life, what animal would you be and why?
I'd probably be. I feel like being a giraffe would be pretty decent. You know, it just seems like a decent. Yeah, you can see things really well. I don't know, maybe a giraffe, but also the thing is, I don't really want to have to always be hunting. That's my biggest thing, because like a lot of people would say, oh, I'd be a lion or I'd be a tiger, but it's like you got to grind so hard to get food. If you're just like a giraffe or something, you just eat leaves and you chill. You're not like chasing things all over the place all day. Sure. You can just take it easy. And yeah, you could get chased down.
I was gonna say you are the prey. Yeah.
But as a giraffe, you're just so tall. I feel like no one bothers with you.
True, and
Discovery Channel would say otherwise.
You just see above everything else.
Yeah,
you
can see them coming.
So maybe an elephant. An elephant would be good because you got like a bunch of pals too. Elephants always have like a whole group they're hanging with. Yeah. No one really messes with them too much.
There you go.
You know, maybe I think elephant's probably the move.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah. So if you could have lunch with any celebrity or artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Maybe Tom DeLonge. I just want to know what the real deal with this alien stuff is. I feel like he never gives us a ton of information. So I'm just trying to know what the actual situation there is. And if, you know, is it more extreme than we think it is?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's going on there? Probably Tom DeLonge.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, no, probably just Tom.
It's Tom.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for this last question, boom, you're on a desert island. You can bring one movie, one album, and one person. Who and what are you bringing?
Desert Island, one movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I have something to watch all this with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
the gear's there
VHS.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
One movie. I'd probably do that Metallica movie where they're making Saint Anger. I don't know. It doesn't matter what movie I bring. I'm gonna hate it. I'm not even someone that watches movies like multiple times. After like 2 watches, I'm gonna be tired of it.
Damn.
So I could really just bring anything, whatever would make the best firewood, I guess. And then best record, I'm probably doing self-titled by Blink.
Okay.
Or maybe Joyride by Transit. I gotta pick one of them. And then what was the third thing? One person?
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably bring my girlfriend, but at the same time, one person's difficult because I know if I bring my brother, he's like an outdoorsman.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can survive for I think a pretty long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's always hiking. Like both my brothers are always hiking and doing stuff like that. So I feel like if I go with them, my chances of surviving longer are there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Mm-hmm.
But do you even want to survive on a desert island? Or do you just kind of want it? Like if you're never going to be saved, if there's a potential to be saved, then I'm trying to survive. If not, I just, I'll just bring like, I don't know. Just bring my girlfriend or like, I mean, I also love hanging with my brothers. I also love hanging with my best friend.
Damn.
this is getting harder. I mean, the way I always see the question is that you're eventually going to get off at some point, but
okay,
that we don't actually have any parameters for that.
No,
it's up for interpretation. Yeah.
So for the potential of hopefully getting off at some point, I'm going to bring my brother because I feel like surviving would just be way easy for me. Like I can probably just chill. He'll get the fire going.
Wow.
Yeah. He'll sort all that out and I can just vibe.
Sounds good. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
No, I'm just chilling, still streaming, still doing the Mario Kart things on Saturday. Records coming out soon, tours coming out soon. Get your tickets to the tour. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hell yeah. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for sounding with us. Ben Dougie from Bearings, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.